Hello everyone. Today we are going to see analog communication, the basic or prerequisite for the satellite communication. First of all, we should know what are the prerequisites required for the satellite communication course. So we already have to be familiar with analog communication and digital communication. So just take overview on the analog communication. Okay. So that we'll see here what are the basics of analog communication. Outline in today's lecture is communication basics, multiplexing, analog communication, types of analog modulation, noise, and some of the examples we are going to see on multiplexing. Communications basic. Communication deals with the principle of transferring information from one place to the another. It involves transmission and reception and pre-processing of information between these two locations. The source could be in continuous form as in the case of analog communication and as discrete signals as in the case of digital communication. Short distance transmission of information is called baseband transmission. For long distance transmission, information has to be impressed upon a high frequency component to be able to reach the reception end of communication. The high frequency component is termed as carrier and the entire process is called modulation. The first thing that should be in our mind is why do we need the modulation? The need of modulation is to translate the frequency of a low pass signal to a higher band so that the spectrum of the transmitted band pass signal matches the band pass characteristics of the channel. For efficient transmission, it has been found that the antenna dimension has to be of the same order of magnitude as the wavelength of the signal being transmitted. Since C is equal to F for a typical low frequency signal of 2 kHz, the wavelength works out to be 150 km. Even assuming the height of the antenna half the wavelength, the height work out to be 75 km, which is impractical. This is one of the example we are seeing here. Modulation translates a signal from its baseband to the operating range of the channel. A communication channel only operates at a certain frequency range. So, by modulating different signals to different frequency bands, they can be transmitted simultaneously over the same channel. In other words, we can say that modulation is used because some data signals are not always suitable for direct transmission, but the modulated signal may be more suitable. To enable transmission of a signal from several message sources simultaneously through a single channel employing frequency division multiplexing. To improve noise and interference immunity in transmission over a noise channel by expanding the bandwidth of the transmitted signal. So for all these reasons we need the modulation. So what we have seen here is for communication channel operates at a certain frequency and we want to communicate with number of messages with different frequencies, we are using the frequency multiplexing. What is the multiplexing is and when it is required? Multiplexing is required to transmit several signals on the same channel. Baseband transmission fails. Okay, what it means is when we require to transmit several signals on the same channel, here the baseband transmission fails, then we are using the multiplexing. Also this multiplexing is used to encounter the problems of multiplexing is employed. Okay, as baseband fails, that we can encounter with the help of multiplexing. Multiplexing is a way of sending multiple signals or streams of information over a communications link at the same time in the form of a signal. The receiver recovers the separate signals in a process called demultiplexing. The types of multiplexing. When it is required to transmit more signals on the same channel, baseband fails as we already discussed, as in the case of audio signals being broadcast from different stations on the same channel. To encounter this problem, either frequency division multiplexing or time division multiplexing is employed. This method of transmitting several channels simultaneously is known as frequency division multiplexing. In time division multiplexing, several signals are transmitted over a time interval. Such signal is allotted a time slot and it gets repeated cyclically. The only difference compared to FDM, frequency division multiplexing, is that the signals are to be sampled before sending. Now we will see the analog communication. Information is encoded in a continuous amplitude, continuous time signal. Analog systems are less tolerant to the noise. So, this analog communication make good use of bandwidth. It is easy to manipulate mathematically. However, analog signals require hardware receivers and transmitters that are designed to perfectly fit the particular transmission. If you are working on a new system and you decide to change your analog signal, you need to completely change your transmitters and receivers. This is one of the disadvantages of analog communication system. We will see here with the help of block diagram how analog communication system work. In analog communication system, we have the input signal and that will be accepted into the system through the input transducer. Here, this is the baseband signal. This input transducer converts the physical quantity or physical signal into the electrical signal and that will pass to the modulator. Here the another frequency, carrier frequency, is also mixed with the original signal. In the modulator, after this, whenever we are superimposing the original signal over the carrier signal and we are transmitting to the transmission channel. Transmission channel will accept the signal and pass it to the receiver. At the receiver, demodulation of the signal will take place, where the signal is demodulated, which is modulated into the input system at the transmitter side. At the receiver side, that will get demodulated and sent to the output transducer. Output transducer will convert this signal, electrical signal, into the physical quantity. This is already known to all of us that how the analog communication system work or the communication system will work from transmitter to the receiver. Types of analog modulation. Depending on whether the amplitude, frequency or phase of the carrier is varied in accordance with the modulation signal, we classify the modulation as amplitude modulation, frequency modulation, phase modulation. The method of converting information into pulse form and then transmitting it over a long distance is called pulse modulation. The choice of the type of modulation is always based on several factors such as the amount of bandwidth allocated, the type of noise and interference that the signal encounters in transmission over the channel. So, we will see here first the amplitude modulation. We are just overviewing what are the content that what we already seen in our previous semesters in analog communication. We have seen amplitude modulation, frequency modulation, pulse modulation and another multiplexing techniques also. In amplitude modulation, the information signal varies with the amplitude of the carrier sine wave. The instantaneous value of the carrier amplitude changes in accordance with the amplitude and frequency variation of the modulating signal. The carrier frequency remains constant during the modulation process, but its amplitude varies in accordance with the modulating signal. An increase in the amplitude of the modulating signal causes the amplitude of the carrier to increase. Amplitude modulation is also called as a normal modulation. We can see from this diagram or waveforms how the amplitude modulation will work. This is the modulating signal which has been shown here, and this is the carrier signal having a constant frequency. When we are modulating, this modulating signal will be superimposed on the carrier signal. We are having the signal like this, where According to the modulating signal and carrier signals, output signal will be having different amplitudes. There is variation into the amplitude. So this is the modulated signal, output signal. Again we can see from this diagram how this will work is, this is the given signal, sinusoidal signal. Now we can see from this waveform, initially this will have some fixed amplitude, afterwards it will be increasing. There is an envelope increase into the amplitude, then again decreasing its amplitude, and again it increases like this. For m is less than t, according to the time interval, different amplitude modulations have been shown here. This is for m is equal to t, what is the amplitude, how the amplitude will get modulated, and for m is greater than t, over modulated signal we got here. So this is normal amplitude modulation signal for various values of modulation index. Next we will see the frequency modulation. Frequency modulation is a form of analog angle modulation in which the baseband information carrying signal, typically called the message or information signal m of t, varies the frequency of a carrier wave. The frequency of the carrier varies in a continuous manner. Thus, there are infinitely many possible carrier frequencies. The amount by which the signal frequency varies is very important in this case. This is known as the deviation and is normally quoted as the number of kilohertz deviation. This is the carrier signal having the constant frequency, and this is the modulating sine wave signals. After modulation into the output signal, we can see that there is change in the frequency. Initially signal will have some constant frequency. Gradually this frequency increases. The maximum frequency we got at this point. Again there is change into the frequency, less frequency than the previous one. Again we can see here there is increase into the frequency. Okay, that is for modulating signals. Whenever it is into the negative half cycle, we can see, observe here is having the maximum frequency. Okay, now we can see that how the AM and FM varies from one another. That is AM versus FM. AM requires a simple circuit and is very easy to generate. It is simple to tune and is used in almost all short wave broadcasting. The area of coverage of AM is greater than FM, that is longer wavelengths. Lower frequencies are utilized. However, it is quite inefficient and is susceptible to static and other forms of electrical noise. The next point between AM versus FM is, the main advantage of FM is its audio quality and immunity to noise. Most forms of static and electrical noise are naturally AM, and an FM receiver will not respond to AM signals. The audio quality of a FM signal increases as the frequency deviation increases. Deviation from the center frequency increases, which is why FM broadcast stations use such large deviation. The main disadvantage of FM is the larger bandwidth it requires, whereas AM will require less bandwidth. Phase modulation, third type of modulations. Frequency modulation and phase modulation have much in common, and they are usually concluded as angle modulation. That is, it is impossible to tell them apart without knowledge about the modulation function. Phase modulation is the process of varying the variation of a carrier wave in proportion to the amplitude of a baseband signal. The amplitude of the carrier remains constant. A strong motivation for FM and PM phase modulation is that the amplitude is constant and the transmitter's power amplifier can work at a constant high amplification level. We can see there is change into the phase of the output signal here. This is the signal we have for phase modulation given. There is change into the frequency, so as changes into the frequency, their phase also going to change here. So for the first signal, we can see that there is change into the phase of the input signal and output signal. Accordingly, how this phase modulation will work. So analog modulation, we can have an overview, carrier signal, modulating sinusoidal signal, how your amplitude modulation signal will have. Here change into the amplitude, it varies. Frequency modulation or phase modulation we can see in this case, and this is frequency modulation and this is phase modulation, change into the phase of the input and output signal. The another kind of modulation is pulse modulation, that is having different types: pulse width modulation, pulse position modulation, pulse amplitude modulation and pulse code modulation. With the help of waveforms we can see the pulse width modulation. This is the input signal and how the pulse will change its width. Initially it will having the less width or positive half cycle of the pulse is having less time interval, whereas for the rest zero state it will have the maximum time interval. Again there is change into this for this portion of the input signal, this will having the different time interval. Accordingly there is change into the pulse. Pulse will have different duty cycles in this case. Pulse amplitude modulation. Initially this is pulse width modulation. Pulse width varies from one cycle to the another cycle. Variation into the width. For pulse amplitude, amplitude of pulse varies, whereas the duration of pulse remains constant. For it means that for high state time interval is similar, and for low state also there is same time interval, only its variation into the amplitude. We can observe here how its amplitude varies. Pulse modulation techniques: input sinusoidal wave, pulse amplitude modulation, change into the amplitude. Then we can say this is pulse code modulation and PDM. Pulse code modulation offers a method of overcoming some of the disadvantage of other types of pulse modulations. In pulse code modulation, the instantaneous amplitude of the sample is represented by a binary code resulting in a series of ones and zeros or mark and space. All pulses have the same height and same shape in pulse code modulation. Since only ones and zeros are sent, the receiver has only to detect the presence or absence of a pulse. A distorted pulse does not degrade the signal as long as the pulse can still be recognized. Hence, PCM is less sensitive to noise than other PAM or PWM. Some examples of multiplexing, as we have already seen multiplexing. Two types of multiplexings we have seen: frequency division multiplexing and time division multiplexing. So we can send the number of information or message signals for the same time interval in frequency multiplexing, and for time division multiplexing we can transmit number of signals for different time slots. Here some examples we are going to see. When more than one application or connection share the capacity of one link, it is called multiplexing. Okay. This results in better utilization of resources. A typical example is many conversations over telephone line, trunk line, wireless channels, etc. We already known about this. Few examples of multiplexings are time division multiplexing, frequency division multiplexing, already we have seen, and the others are wavelength division multiplexing, code division multiple access. For frequency division multiplexing, how it will work: the transmitter side we can see here, the modulated with the subcarrier signals we are providing MI of t signal, whereas this is subcarrier SI of t. Number of signals M1 of t, M2 of t up to Mn of t. For subcarrier modulators F1, F2, Fn we are providing to the summing junction. Here now in the transmitter with the some center frequency Fc, some composite baseband modulating signals MB of t we are sending to the transmitter. and after frequency division multiplexing signals we are transmitting here. So MB of t is the modulated with center frequency Fc, that we can see here. If these are some center frequencies f1, f2 up to fn, and this is the bandwidth of these signals b1, b2 and bn. Total bandwidth accommodated by this transmitter is b. At the receiver side we have again FDM of the signal that is sent by the transmitter, which will be received by the main receiver. Again that will have the Fc as the frequency. This will receive MB of t composite baseband signal, and that will give to the band pass filters with different frequencies f1, f2 up to fn. Accordingly, these band pass filter will pass the signals s1 of t, s2 of t and so on, sn of t. Demodulators will demodulate these signals, and we got the original signal m1 of t, m2 of t and so on, mn of t. Synchronous time division multiplexing or time division multiple access transmitter. How it will work is similar to the previous, but now here different time slots we are applying, and that will work cyclically. Okay, so m1 of t, m2 of t, the signals that we are sent here to the different buffers, this will have the signals m1 to mc of t, and that will be given to this scan operation here. In time division multiplexing stream, that will be given to the modem. Modem will transmit this signal, that different frames of the signals will be transmitted for different time intervals. And at the receiver we have the modulated stream modem, and for respective time slot again scan operation will be there, that will be sent to the different buffers at the receiver side, and receiver will send this buffers will send to the original message to the receiver. Analog carrier system using FDM. This is one of the example how FDM will work here. 4 kilohertz. See, we can see that this is the end users voice channels we can send here with the same frequency 4 kilohertz, 4 kilohertz, 4 kilohertz. Then we can make the group of this 4 kilohertz. So respectively there may be 5 groups we can see here. So we can see that there may be 12 channels. So total, if for one user we have 4 kilohertz frequency, total frequency will be 48 kilohertz. So accordingly we are grouping these number of channels here, having 12 channels, and such that 5 groups will be there. Again now super group we have formed here with 5 groups of 4 individuals. Now 10 subgroups will be given to this. Now accordingly frequency will get increased here. Initially there is having 12 channels, now it will come to the 60 channels and frequency is 240 kilohertz. Respectively jumbo group will form and having the frequency of 16.984 megahertz. Over the 3600 channels we can send this, allocating different frequencies. Digital carrier system using time division multiplexing. As we have seen, this is for frequency division multiplexing, how we are dividing the frequency. Here 12 channels for 48 kilohertz, 60 channels for 240 kilohertz, and then 600 channels with the frequency of 2.52 megahertz we are sending with this frequency, these channels. Accordingly different messages will be sent. For TDM 64 kbps is the signal. So DS0, 24 users we are initially having here for time division multiplexing. 24 such type of digital systems are used here, and accordingly we can see different time slot will be allotted for each and every one, and at last we have DS4 is the another time slot. So cyclically this will be working here. This is at the okay. So we have seen multiplexing, types of multiplexing, its examples. Now the main point is when we are sending any information, any signal, there may be some of the interrupt, or there may be some of the signals, unwanted signal will get added with the original signal, which is called as noise. That is, we can define noise as noise is nothing but an unwanted signal that affects the wanted signal. Noise is random signal that exists in communication systems. So this noise is totally unwanted from the original signal that we have sent from the transmitter, and we received it at the receiver side. So how we can differentiate between these types of noises? There may be some internal noise or there may be external noise. In these two basic types we can differentiate them. The internal noise is due to the random movement of electrons in electronic circuits, or it may be because of major sources or resistors, diodes, transistors, etc. That will create some noise because of the increase into the temperature and heat increase. So that is thermal noise or Johnson noise, for example, or short noise may be the noises into the internal, or because of the are the noise internally affected the signal. In external noise, that noise may be man-made or some natural resources over which we have no control. For example, motors, generators, atmospheric some sources may cause noise to be introduced. Noise levels in system is proportional to, so these are some of the noises: temperature and bandwidth, amount of current, gain of circuit, resistance of circuit, effect of noise, degrade system performance, receiver cannot distinguish signal between the signal and the noise, efficiency of communication system reduces. These are some of the causes of the external noise. So here we can see that this is the signal plus noise. Originally what we have is a sinusoidal signal without noise. We are sent from the transmitter, and such kind of noise will get introduced into the original sinusoidal signal. So at the receiver we can have the signal like this. Signal plus some noise will get introduced, and receiver will have such signals at the receiver end. So this is all about how the analog communication will work, or what are the terminologies that we have learned from the previous our courses, analog communications, that we are now going to relate into the satellite communication. These terminologies we are going to see for the our course satellite communication. So in the next lecture we are going to see what is about, or what is the digital communication, and what are the different methods of digital communication. Okay, thank you.